Free dance ready to go here. And the skaters outside and the skaters inside. And the final flight for gold, and Kaitlyn Weaver and Andrew Pogier are quite naturally the favorites.
Watch the beautiful body lines and the speed they have across the ice. And actually, it's always interesting when you watch an ice dance warm up. These skaters get going really quickly, turning and twisting, and often near collisions, sometimes actually collisions.
So after yesterday's short dance, Weaver and Pogier by more than six, well, actually less than 6 points over Gilles and Poirier, Paul and Islam, and Paradis and Ouellette. The math in this one is 3 dance teams will go to Boston for the World Championships. Top 5 on the national team. And earlier today, Poulin and Servin are the leaders. Adrien Poulin, Marc-André Servin, they skated earlier today. Score of 146-3-3. Team that has also gone through a coaching change this year, and that change has led to leadership right now in the free dance. But again, the elite teams are on the ice warming up, getting ready for this finale.
Free dance has 8 required elements, and of those 8 required elements, you'll see at least 3 lifts, 2 step sequences, a spin, and a series of synchronized twizzles. The skaters can choose their own music. Of course, lyrics are allowed, as we've been hearing them in all the disciplines now. Originally, it was just the ice dance. Alexandra Paul and Mitch Islam warming up a step sequence here.
First team to go will be a new partnership, Nicole Orford and Asher Hill, then Paradis and Ouellette, then the 3 Ontario teams, including Weaver and Pogier, who will skate last for the national title. Last time the Nationals were held in Halifax back in 2007, Marie-France Dubreuil, Patrice Lauzon would win their 5th national title. Significant that year was who was in second place, Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir. And that promise fulfilled, of course. Next year they begin their era, which would lead to a world championship and an Olympic championship. And third, Kaitlyn Weaver and Andrew Pogier. And think about that. 9 years later, what an impressive podium, by the way. Weaver and Pogier are the leaders. Virtue and Moir are broadcasters, and Dubreuil and Lauzon are coaches.
They're coaching.
Although Virtue and Moir still are not telling us if they're coming back. Just want to point that out. You never know. So here we go. 5 dance teams. 5 teams make the national team for karting and placement around the world. 3 teams go to the World Championship and add the gold medal in. So more drama here for the free dance. Nicole Orford and Asher Hill, who used to skate with other partners, have now joined together this formation, a new one, but loaded with promise.
They are skating to music from the Theory of Everything soundtrack. Their story is about a couple enduring life's struggles, an ailing man with a partner's support. Like this twizzle sequence seamlessly into the music and the dance. this partnership has given each of them a second chance at the sport, both figuring they were done until they decided to try out together, and their sense of joy when they skate is palpable. Feel the gratitude of being back here on competition ice. At how quickly they've come together as a team and skate as one.
Experienced skaters with other partners now together. Nicole Orford and Asher Hill. The goal is to make the national team. They begin this free dance in that position.
She is from British Columbia, Asher, Ontario. They train in Scarborough with Carol Lane and Yuris Razguliev. And this wonderful program was choreographed by Megan Wing. We'll see the scores for Orford and Hill when we come back to Halifax.
A couple of skaters who have danced with other partners, Asher with Karis Ralph and Nicole with Thomas Williams, and had success the junior and senior level, and now they have decided to get together, and so far so good.
And this is their step sequence, and beautifully in time with the music. And I spoke about weaving the required elements into the dance and connecting it with the music, so it's just not an element on its own. They've come together so quickly. I think it's a testament to their training and obviously their commitment. They're happy to be back. This is a second chance for them. And those are huge scores. Good, good.
So
those are season's best for them. And 94, Rod, that's going to put pressure on the next couple of teams to come.
Bottom line, though, is that they're guaranteed a national team spot. Regardless of what happens with the rest of the teams to come, they move into first from the teams that had skated earlier. So 4 teams remain. National team spots up for grabs, and again, the 3 placements to the Worlds. That's in the offing. Here's Elizabeth Paradis and Francoise Xavier-Ouellette. She is from Loretteville, Quebec. He is from Laval, a pair of 23-year-olds who last year finished in 5th position.
Music of Simon and Garfunkel. And you'll recognize it, Bridge Over Troubled Water.
When you're on the street
lines they create with their free leg, the leg that's in the air. Very precise, fully extended, helping them with control. Lovely to watch.
Their season for a breakthrough. They wanted to take it higher this year. That was outstanding.
Brilliant skating. I've watched them struggle. We've watched them struggle a little bit in competition this season, trying to just find that special place where they can let it go. They did it today. It was beautiful. We'll see the scores of the judges when we come back.
Alex Paul and Mitch Islam are ready to skate next, then followed by Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier, then Kaylin Weaver and Andrew Pogier in the free dance. But I'll tell you what, Elizabeth Paradis and Francois Xavier Ouellet brought the house down. Marie-France Dubreuil, a coach, along with Pascal Denis, who's with them. Patrice Lauzon down at the American Championships this weekend. So they're split up, but they have done terrific work with this team.
And wonderful the way they incorporated the exits and entrances of the lifts. So that wasn't just a lift that came down and moved on. It blended in with the choreography. Look at her back line here. Absolutely beautiful, and the speed of the rotation. Marks for difficulty, marks for quality. Look at that line. Never lost the sense of the dance musically.
This was so cool.
Sail on, Silver Girl. And from one lift right up into the second lift, and then watch the exit of the lift. Spinning onto the ice, and you don't know where one move ends and the other begins, and that's the goal. Now you see a -2 deduction. That was for extended lift, but that doesn't matter when they see 102. That's 17 points higher than their season's best.
And here they sit in first place. Francois Xavier Ouellet, a former high-level hockey player in Quebec, now an ice dancer, currently the leader. And there is One of their coaches, Marie-France Debray, she's busy this weekend with a few skaters, few teams. Here's Alex Paul and Mitch Islam who are ready to go.
And Marie-France has been working with these two on the mental side of their game. There is no question that these two are capable. They have had trouble delivering in competition. They've been on the ice. They know what their teammates just got a huge score. They have to deal with that and now bring their best.
God, a merciful Father, I'm wrapped in a robe of light.
Music by Barbara Streisand, Where Is It Written?
It spreads its wings over my soul. May I be worthy.
Key element, the Twizzles. Showing excellent control, and that's what they need. Very light and delicate across the ice, but they have wonderful speed, continuous flow through this step sequence.
There's not a morning I begin without 1,000 questions running through my mind. That I don't try to find the reason and the logic in the world that God designed. The reason why a bird was given wings. What's right or wrong? Where I belong within the scheme of things. And though I have eyes that see and arms that reach, unless you're meant to know there's something more. If not to hunger for the meaning of it all, then tell me what a soul is for. Why have the wings unless you're meant to fly? And tell me please, why have a mind if not to question why? And tell me where is it written what it is I'm meant to be, that I can dare?
And there was an error in the lift, trying to cover it up,
Or have my share
and that could be it, Rod.
every sweet
So late in the program, things were going so well.
Just tell me where. Tell me where.
That problem in the execution of the lift could cost them a medal.
And a spot at the Worlds. They covered up beautifully. They know, many of the judges know that was a signature lift for them that didn't go up. They did have a 5-point lead coming in.
So the math will be calculated, the points. Canada's champions will skate last. Parody and Willette. Great performance for them. Could put them on the podium.
She can't stop smiling.
Now, we just heard Alex Paul and Mitch Islam. She just said, you know, we can do that lift in our sleep. Something about the Nationals, though, you just never know what could happen. And that lack of execution in that lift could be very costly. We'll see how the judges figure it out.
Off to a very good start with the Twizzles. And this is awarded a degree of difficulty. They'll get quality marks. All of the 8 required elements are judged the same way. Some beautiful moments here. Rotational lift. Look at the speed and the ease of rotation and movement across the ice. But it was this lift, their signature lift. She flips up and hit her foot just missed. They couldn't hold it. His back to the judges, so they just tried to make the most of it. But typically she goes up over his head. As Marie-France says, it happens.
They did carry a lead. Will the lead be enough? No. It will not be enough. Paul and Islam are going to fall behind Parody and Willette. They're in second, and that could mean that Parody and Willette are going to win a bronze medal and will go to the World Championships in Boston. Sometimes it's not about winning a national title or winning a competition. It's about getting on the podium. That's the story here for those two. So drama already and some surprise as Paul and Islam fall into second place. Now, it's also dependent on what happens to the next two teams, but you don't think that they are going to have the same kind of problems. Gillis and Poirier, second at the Nationals last year, come in second after the short dance.
They call this program saudade, Portuguese word meaning longing, but not attaining. Wonderfully innovative rotational lift. And innovative is a word that sums up these two. They strive to test themselves artistically, but what they deliver every time out is excellent execution of their elements. This is a step sequence, very sure, deep edges.
Team that's been on the rise the last couple of seasons since Piper came north to Canada to compete with Paul. American by birth. 6th at the World Championship.
Their speed, their precision is impressive.
Mistakes. They're like robo-dancers out there, and I mean that as a compliment. Technically, they're so sound.
That's talent and that's training. These two work at it. I love the way they redefine themselves each time out. Piper involved in the world of fashion. She has a wonderful sense of humor and an integral creative force in the creation of their costumes. But they do. They deliver time and time again. You better be at your best when you're up against them.
Coming up, the Grand Prix champions, Canadian champions, Weaver and Poge at the Nationals. Another Dream Weaver season for Kaylin Weaver and Andrew Poge. Last year they were undefeated and then finished 3rd at the Worlds. This year undefeated again. They've won the Grand Prix championship in Barcelona and are trying to carry another national title, which you might think is inevitable for a team like this. You still have to go and dance it and skate it, but take that to the World Championship where they want to become gold medalists. But how about Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier?
Speed and sureness, the name of the game here. Look at these twizzles and the detail of the arms, everything matching perfectly. Complete synchronicity, and then Paul with his strong edge work. Watch this stationary rotational lift. Very cool. You watch it, you go, that's neat. Oh, cool. And it holds your interest, and they pull you right into what they're doing because it's musical and you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Nothing is predictable. Here, their step sequence, and look at the speed with which they do it, and you watch their blades on the ice carving deep edges, but the technique allows them to do the difficulty with that kind of speed and flow.
Very similar to some of the Euro teams we've seen in the past. And look at these big numbers. Score of 109-19. They lead by a large margin. Gillis and Poirier guaranteed at least silver here. Guaranteed a shot at the World Championship in Boston.
Those are huge scores. Those scores are as high as Weaver and Poge's season's best.
So not a for sure thing by any stretch. Here come the champs.
Final competitors, representing Northern Ontario.
Big story is parodying right now. They've changed the order. Currently in second place.
Kaylin Weaver and Andrew Poge.
Kaylin Weaver and Andrew Poge. Looking to defend their dance title won last year in Kingston.
This is a program about dependency and addiction. skating to On the Nature of Daylight and Walk and Run.
This bitter earth, well, what fruit it bears, heaven only knows. Now this bitter earth, yes, can be so cold. Today you're young, too soon you're old. But while a voice within me cries, I'm sure someone may answer my call. And this bitter earth, but what good am I? What good am I? Heaven only knows.
Sensational skating. That step sequence was as good as it gets.
Standing O here in Halifax. Weaver and Poge moments away from going back to back.
Wow, what a combination of speed and power and fluidity. Just beautifully skated. I loved the way that performance built. Sensational step sequence at the end and wonderfully inventive lifts and highlights. We'll be back to Halifax and we'll wrap this up and find out what the judges think.
She hails from Houston, Texas. Kaylin Weaver and Andrew Pogier from Kitchener-Waterloo. The last few years, they've been climbing the ranks. You saw the last time the Nationals were here in Halifax. They were bronze medalists, and now they are Canada's champions, looking to go back-to-back.
And look at this spectacular lift. My goodness, the line and his strength, her flexibility. When they were last here, Rod, they'd been together about 5 months, and it was a surprise bronze medal that they won, but it's the highlights as they're showing here with that rotational lift, but the speed with which they do all the elements is the reason that they are undefeated this season in competition. They've got the maximum difficulty. Those highlights so impressive visually. Piper and Paul backstage waiting to see how this pans out. But for Caitlin and Andrew, they're wanting to see the scores. Pasquale Camerlengo, he is their coach, choreographer, along with Angelika Krylova, who is down at the U.S. Nationals right now.
So this should be confirmation. They have a deduction, but it doesn't matter. Kaylin Weaver and Andrew Pogier, you've done it again. You've won another National Dance Championship.
And they'll go to the judges and see where do we go from here, and how do we get from here to the top of the world's podium. I think they're on the right path.
Bronze medal last year, and they had an undefeated season. They said this year, bronze isn't good enough. They want the gold medal. They showed that at the Grand Prix final, winning that championship. Here are some of the other teams that skated earlier today and earlier in the week from coast to coast to coast. For many of them, a chance to be at their first national championship here at the Canadian Tire National Skating Championships. And then, of course, top 5 placement. That's key. Orford and Hill will be part of the national team. Paul and Islam, so disappointing. Just 2/10 back of Paradis and Ouellette. Paradis and Ouellette are going to go to the World Championship with Gilles and Poirier and Weaver and Pogier, who are with Sarah.
Thank you, Rod. Caitlin, Andrew, a year ago we sat here and you won your first national title. Does it feel different this second time coming in as back-to-back now?
Yes, I think that our whole careers together, we've been looking forward to that moment that we would finally be called Canadian champions. Now we've had a year to let it sink in, and it's about the little things. It's not about coming home with the gold medal, which of course is the goal, but it's about making sure that we can get the feedback, get the experience here to bring forward into the rest of the season.
Andrew, what is the focus going to be now as you guys build towards Boston and the World Championships?
Well, that's exactly. We're going to focus on perfecting the programs that we have here. We already are analyzing and figuring out what we can do better in those performances out there. And we want to make sure that when it comes to Boston, that we feel like we fulfilled everything we could possibly do and don't leave anything behind.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, you two.
Thank you.
Rod, Tracy.
Yes, another gold medal coming their way. They've been like the Golden State Warriors. They're undefeated. They're on a streak right now. And Canada champions again. They'll get their medals. Back to back they go. Much more to come from here in Halifax. We'll speak to the former Olympic champions of dance, Virtue and Moyer, in a few moments.
I like you guys.
Oh my God,
We are back inside the Scotiabank Center in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Wrapping up the free dance. Don't forget tonight we have the men, we have the pair. Final medals to be awarded. Back with 3 great dance champions. Tracy Wilson, Tessa Virtue, Scott Moyer, who have turned to the broadcasting side. And thanks for all your help this week. And we were just showing a little flashback a while ago. When you guys finished second here in Halifax to De Broglie-Lauzon, it began your era. And Caitlin Weaver and Andrew Pogier were the bronze medalists, Scott.
Yeah, and their first nationals. Was that their first or
That
second?
was. They've been together about 5 months.
Unbelievable, and they're showing that experience here this week. I mean, I don't think they made a single step out of place. Good for them.
Tessa, your thoughts on their performance, and what do you see they have to do going forward to bring home the gold medal at Worlds?
It was such a nuanced and detailed performance. It's really evolved, that program, throughout the season. And what I noticed today was just the power and the strength they showed right to the very end. It's an emotional performance, and they really took the audience on a journey with them.
Do you think it's enough to get them the gold medal, Scott?
I think they're on the right path for sure. I mean, I was really impressed with the way that they competed this week. Sometimes nationals can be tough when you're thinking past to the World Championships, and I know that they've really been motivated since they kind of just lost it last year. So I'm just impressed how they came out. They really competed, and they were spectacular. I think that they will find themselves a lot closer to the top of the podium, and we'll be hoping and really cheering them on.
They are going to hand out medals here. You guys know what that's all about. Let's talk about Parody and Willette, and we have had this changing of the dance guard the last few years, and we see some teams that are rising up. I don't think this team surprises either one of you.
Absolutely not. This program, I think, is one of the highlights of the season for me. The piece of music, the way they interpret it. I love the transitions into and out of every single element. It's so thoughtful and such an intellectual approach to dance. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, what Tessa and I always love to see is the emotion in ice dance, and I don't think anybody right now is doing it better than these two. We've been watching them come up, and their connection together, I mean, and Simon and Garfunkel, I mean, it was such a great connection with the music as well. So
I think the Silverbird kind of reminded me of the Goose as well a little bit. It just goes back to Vancouver. We should let you know that the official world team will be announced later tonight, so there is no real confirmation, but you'd have to think that for Parody and Willette, this is such a quantum leap and getting a chance to go to a world championship. What was it like for you guys when you got to your first worlds?
Well, your first worlds you never forget, and actually we were lucky enough to go with the Bray and Lausanne. I remember Marie-France saying to us, don't take this for granted. Really take in every single experience that you'll experience here. So, I mean, we're lucky to have people like Weaver and Pogier that'll lead them through that first worlds.
And then you've got Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier, a little quirky material, but you never know what to expect from them, Tessa.
This program keeps you on the edge of your seat. I love that you never know what to expect from these two. It's very Christopher Dean inspired. I know he didn't necessarily choreograph this program, though they have worked with him many times in the past. I loved this program. I love that they're pushing the envelope and constantly doing different things. Very innovative.
And the reaction is priceless. Scotty, when was the first time that you felt that Kaylin Weaver and Andrew Pogier had what it took to become Canadian champions and do what they're doing?
Oh, I mean, I think when you come third at your very first nationals, that's in the making. And I grew up skating in the same school as Andrew, and I always knew that he would be great. And it's been nice to see them really come into their own the last 4 or 5 years. We'll be cheering for them going onwards to the World Championships, that's for sure.
What was it about the area that you grew up? Because so many of the fine male skaters.
It's the water. It's the water.
We throw back to our coach Paul McIntosh and choreographer Suzanne Killing, and I mean he had a novice champion this year, so obviously he's still developing young talent. But I mean, look at Pogier's connection with his blade and his command over his. He's such control in his skating.
Tessa, who do you think will be their greatest challenge going forward?
Well, you know what? I think they have to stick to their game plan, and it would really only be themselves. I think you can get tripped up in focusing only on that world championship, and they've maintained their composure this week. I think they've shown us what a class act they really are, and if they can continue that heading into the world championships, there's no stopping them.
And again, they're getting their medals. You know, one of the things too is that, as you have seen in the ice dance world over the last few years, mistakes are critical and costly, as we saw even today. Before a World Championship, you got a few weeks here. What did you two concentrate on leading up to a World Championship?
Well, there is quite a bit of time before the World Championships, and it seems like that World Championship's getting pushed later and later in the year. So I think they'll probably go back to this program, strip it down a little bit, and really take advantage of every single moment. They seem to have the elements mastered. It's making them even more special within the program that I think will set them apart from the rest of the crowd.
Was there one particular element that you found the toughest in competition? Was it the step sequence? What did you find, Tessa?
You know, mentally, I think Twizzles can stumble you a little bit just because there's so much anticipation, so much pressure on those those few turns, and it's such a balance thing. You know, if your shoulder's out of place, if your hips aren't in line, it can really take a turn and set the tone for the program. But they looked so solid in their Twizzles today. It was really lovely to see.
Well, they're on the podium now. They'll get their medals shortly. Tessa and Scott, thank you. We'll hear from you later tonight. There's Team Canada on their way to the World Championships. And there's Elvis Stojko, as a matter of fact. He's the athlete ambassador here. He knows everything about Halifax and winning a gold medal. Back in Halifax, right beside the Atlantic. Maritimes, good times for Alain Chartrand earlier today. Canadian champion Caitlin Weaver and Andrew Pogier getting their medals behind us here. Don't forget, later tonight we have the pairs free skate. We also have the men's free skate, and unless Patrick Chan misses the bus, I don't think he's going to, and just does what he did last night,
well,
he could join Brian Orser as an 8-time Canadian champion.
Yes, and I think for Patrick, this could be one of those feel-good moments for him in his comeback. He talked about questioning his decision to come back, recommitting before Canadians, because he says there are moments where he's on the ice and he feels that sense of joy, and that's why he skates. He felt that sense of joy in the short. We felt it watching him. Now, I mean, I for one can't wait to see what he puts out here in the free skate tonight.
Well, it has been a bit of a struggle on this comeback. He had a terrific Skate Canada free skate. The short program wasn't so good, but last night, bang on.
Everything that I've been wanting to do in this short program in competition unfolded the right way.
There it is. Okay.
Translating the practices to the competition has been frustrating this year, and maybe being in the right environment finally and being able to really relax and not have to make the extra effort to land my jumps, kind of let things settle, had a really relaxed upper body, which is key for me going into my jumps, especially the quad. And it's a great step forward for the rest of the season. The men's field has changed a lot in the last year, in good and bad. These guys are whipping out quads like it's cake, and I'm not there yet. I'll be honest, I'm not there. But how do I get to that point is to not panic and really think what's the best path to take to get me to that point. If I have to down the road, maybe in 2018, add that quad sal, then yeah, I'll be ready to do it then. But what do I need to do to be proactive to prepare myself for that? And the first step, pretty obvious, is to add another triple axel, which I haven't done in a long time, and I'm ready for it.
I like that talk from Patrick Chan, 25 years old, still looking ahead to Pyeongchang. Look at the huge lead he's built up over Liam Ferris,
but
Kevin
look at
Reynolds.
How close it is, Rod, for the guys behind him from 2nd to 6th place. A mere double axel.
And only 2 skaters will go to the World Championships in Boston. Here's the irony about tonight is Patrick Chan's going to join Brian Orser as an 8-time champion. Brian Orser is the coach of 2 of his biggest rivals in Yuzu Hanyu and Javier Fernandez.
Yes, and he's also coaching Nam Nguyen here, who was a defending champion and trying to climb his way back up. He's in 5th place.
It'll be interesting to see what Nam does tonight as well, because Nam didn't have the best short program, but he's capable of putting up big numbers.
He is. He looked subdued. He looked a little slow in the short program. And, of course, he's got the mind game and the hurdle to get over of trying to defend his title. Patrick has removed that by his performance in the short program. Nam is free to go out and skate. He's the one that's now doing the chasing. That's what he's used to in the past. So we'll see. We'll see what he can put down.
Well, it's been a very interesting day so far. If we have anything like we've had today, a lot of excitement, a lot of surprise, particularly in the women's skate.
The women were fantastic.
And there's our podium for the free dance. Weaver and Pogier do it again. 2 titles now back to back. These 6 skaters getting ready to go to the World Championships.
As we wrap it up, it's been quite a day. As I said yesterday when we signed on, over the past couple of years, women's skating has not been a strong section for this country, but that is changing. There is depth on the women's side, and we saw that here today. Caitlin Osmond, the 2-time Canadian champion, was back after missing last year in Kingston with that broken leg. There's Caitlin. She had a great short program yesterday, and it looked like she would win a 3rd title, but she finishes 3rd as Alain Chartrand from Prescott, Ontario, trained by Brian Orser and Michelle Lee, put together a beautiful program. That's Gabby Daleman on the left, and there is Chartrand Daleman from Newmarket, Ontario. So it's been a busy afternoon. Again, we'll see you tonight with the free skate for men and pairs for all of us. So long from Halifax.